I am, and I know that many in Hungary and many in Europe are relieved with this outcome of the election, of the Hungarian parliamentary elections, because it also gives now much more space of solutions about Ukraine. We all know that Orban have Ukraine under his pressure on many occasions and many situations. So, of course, we hope that now things will flow forward. And also, I think it's hope for Hungarian people.
And, of course, you were Prime Minister of Finland. You sat at the European Council. You also sat with Viktor Orban. Over the past few weeks, we've seen tapes that leaked of alleged conversations, and some of them caught on tape very openly, between the Hungarians and the Russians. Is that something that you suspected? And is it just a red line has been crossed already? The idea that this communication was certainly happened before and after meetings?
Of course, I have worked together with Viktor Orban in European Council, and we have had many difficult situations and discussions, for example, concerning Finland's and Sweden's NATO membership. Hungary was a second of the last countries that ratified our NATO membership, and there have been many situations. And we know that Orban has very different view on the war in Ukraine, and also, for example, rule of law, applying rule of law in Europe.
Ukraine cannot win it. He said objectively, Ukraine cannot win it. You've said Ukraine can win it. So
Ukraine must win it. I would say Ukraine must win it. If Ukraine doesn't win the war or have an outcome on a peace negotiations that will be sustainable, that would be fair for the Ukrainian citizens, and that will provide security to Europe and to Ukraine in the future. If we won't have that, we as Europe, we are under jeopardy, because Russia is, as we speak, they are preparing themselves, they're modernizing their army, and they're preparing themselves to much wider fight.
So they're preparing for war with Europe? The rest of the continent?
I wouldn't rule that out. And we also need to prepare. And for that, we need strong Ukraine, because Ukraine has the largest, most functional and modern army with modern warfare experience. And without Ukraine, we are vulnerable. We need their lessons learned. We need their help. And we need to understand that we are as dependent on Ukraine and Ukrainian capabilities, that Ukraine is dependent on our help.
And you mentioned NATO. There's been a lot of friction over the past few weeks. Certainly the president of the U.S. making it very clear that he believes the Europeans have done very little in Iran, and also has said that NATO without the U.S. is a paper tiger. When I hear these words, this is exactly what Russia would like to hear. NATO is a paper tiger, and the U.S. may consider reassessing their relationship. How concerned are you? Because a country like yours certainly needs a strong NATO.
I'm very glad, and I still support our decision joining NATO. I think it was the right one. At the same time, we have to understand and realize that NATO is a different organization now than it was when we and Sweden joined.
Because Trump is a president.
Because of the changing relationship between US and Europe, it has already changed, and it is changing, and this is a fact that we cannot escape. And it means that we need to focus on our own game. We cannot anymore only rely on the US presence and US capabilities. We have to build our own. And now we are speaking European defense capabilities and European unity, European military forces. And I think this is extremely necessary discussion. And we should also discuss more about the European nuclear deterrence. This is a discussion that I see happening already, and the necessity to have it.